Hi guys, so this is my final. My first artifact was the Grammar for Mini lesson. So I said that that aligned with standard number 6, which is assessment, and that standard is the teacher understands and uses multiple methods of assessment to engage learners in their own growth, to monitor learner progress, and to guide the teachers and learners' decision making. So my topic for the grammar fair was verb tenses, and that was a little bit more difficult than some of the other topics. So I started off by asking about the students' background knowledge to see where their starting point was at. And all of the groups seemed to also be at a somewhat different starting point, so that let me know what I really needed to focus on during my lesson. So then during the I do, I explained a little bit, and then during the we do, we worked together as a group, and I had some of the students raising their hands and things to help me decide if sentences were past, present, or future. So during that time, I was observing the group as a whole to see if they were getting it and to see if I could move on more quickly to the next thing or if I needed to spend more time on that section. And then I was also observing them individually to see which students were a little bit higher and were really understanding it and which students were kind of struggling a little bit still. So then during the I do part, the students got a few words, and based on the endings or the words that went along with them, they had to figure out if they were past, present, or future. So some of the words that I handed out were a little bit more difficult than others, so I made sure to give those to the students that I knew could handle them, and then I gave ones that were a little bit easier to the students that were struggling so that every student was able to do the task at least. Um, so yeah, I think that that really hit the assessment standard. It was obviously a lot of formative assessment that I was doing. It was a lot of observation and based on what they were putting up on the board during the first part of the I do. I knew like if I would need to help them a little bit more during the next activity or if I could stand back and let them figure it out on their own. Um, so then for my next artifact, I chose to do the parent-teacher conference simulation, and I said that that went along with standard number 9, which is professional learning and ethical practice, and that standard is the teacher engages in ongoing professional learning and uses evidence to continually evaluate his or her practice, particularly the choice of his or her actions on others, being learners, families, other professionals, and the community, and adapts practice to meet the needs of each learner. Um, so that simulation was obviously a professional development exercise. It was getting us prepared for possible future parent conferences, and I thought that it was really valuable because during that time we were reflecting a lot. I know that even during the simulation, during that 5 minutes, I was reflecting on what I was saying and thinking about other things I could say or how I could say something a little bit better. And then afterwards, it was really great because we got feedback from another person. And then after we left the room, we were able to talk with our partner and get feedback from them and kind of collaborate. And then we were able to watch back the video as well and see how we had done kind of from a different point of view and also reflect back on that in writing. So I think that I learned a lot during that experience. One thing in particular that the teacher I was with really wanted us to take from it was that if a parent ever comes to you with any issues or any concerns, you really have to acknowledge those, even if you might not necessarily agree with them or whatever. You really have to acknowledge them and make the parent and their opinion feel really valued. And then the conference is really about the student, but if a parent comes to you and they're really struggling and they're kind of a mess, you kind of need to acknowledge that and be there for the parent and check in with them first before you can get on to talking about the student. Because if they don't feel valued and if they're kind of, a mess, then they're not really going to be able to get the most out of the conference. And another thing that I think is really important for going into future parent teacher conferences is that I really need to go in prepared and I need to have a ton of data on the student, maybe stuff from previous years, maybe talk with his previous teachers or other teachers that have him if it's in a junior high or high school. Um, and yeah, just really collaborating with like counselors in the school and anyone else who might see the student and come to the conference with a plan or some strategies that you want to try out with the student to help them improve. So yeah, I think that that really aligns with standard number 9, and that's it.